to Atlantic Ocean, over me hills to country, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah, 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 yeah. From Monday to Sunday. From Monday to Sunday, it's focused on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information. Education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday to Sunday.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jar, and we're broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Tonight, Liberia stands at a crossroad. Tonight, Liberia stands at a crossroad. The government has charged former Vice President Jewel Howard Taylor with drug trafficking, money laundering, and multiple offenses under the Control Drug and Substance Act and Penal Law. This follows Liberia's largest ever cocaine seizure and has ignited national debate about justice, politics, and institutional credibility. At the same time, concerns surrounding Sekou Dukle and the National Port Authority continue to raise questions about corruption, governance failures, and whether Liberia's institutions are truly prepared to confront wrongdoing at every level. This is not a legal movement. It is a test of Liberia's democracy, its justice system, and its commitment to accountability. Tonight, we break it down, and to do that, let me welcome the new progressive commentator, Reverend Dr. Clarence R. Pearson. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure to be on the show tonight. I want to say hi to Kuman and hi to our listeners and viewers out there. Listen, Dennis, this is a historical day in our country, and I'm looking forward to opine on the issues that are developing.
Thank you. Let me also welcome the perfect manager, that's P. Maurice Kuruma. Maurice he's been on hiatus, but now he's back, so we are so excited to have Maurice back. Family, welcome.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for hosting the extraordinary Dr. Pearson and myself, and thank you to you for having such a interesting conversation tonight, and I hope it will be a rewarding one.
Thank you. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. If you have not already done so, please hit that share button, invite someone, call somebody, and let's discuss. I don't know if any of you listened to my show before this one that was about the lawyers. Were you able to watch it? We're talking about the legal side of this whole Jewel Howard Taylor case.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to follow, Dennis, but it will be okay if you can always give us heads up before you bring up a point.
Right. I mean, according to the charges, she's already been charged and sent to prison. And so asking the lawyers, the first thing is, what happened at the airport, that arrest. So when you arrest someone, you charge them, it's legally permissible to hold them for a length of time before charging them. So they went through that. According to the lawyers, everything was legally done. I asked if it were, you can arrest without a writ. Say yes, depending on the case. It's possible that someone is in the process of committing a crime, you can arrest them, or someone committed a crime and they're about to leave to escape, you can arrest them without warrant, and all the different things can happen for which someone can be arrested without a warrant. And now the charges are being drawn out because and sent to the court. So the court now charge her, and she'll be. These are all non-billable offenses, so she'll be in prison until the entire length and breadth of the case, say from the time the indictment has been drawn, pre-trial, trial, and conviction or acquittal. All that time she will remain in jail. And also, that can be, first of all, you're looking at the first, I think, because they're looking at the August term of court and all that. So it is within that. Because it's not a bit non-billable, she will remain in detention or in prison until that time. Also, the charges that were brought against her, how can they prove them? I mean, those charges are grave charges. If found guilty, that's a 10 to 20 years, sentence in jail, right? So all that we discussed, and to prove them, she must have known, because according to the charge sheet, Basiru Kante connected her with this group that's supposed to be the alleged drug cartel, introduced them and told her what they wanted, that the kind of business they were in. And then they invited her to Dubai, where she was given 45,000. And the intention was to help them establish themselves and use Liberia as a transit point. And then after she came, she called them. They were interacting. She called and they were able to send. First of all, she met the guy who's supposed to be their leader in Dubai, the campaign. Their names are there, a Croatian. So they sent $75,000 through the Jewel Foundation, and later on 15,000, and that's how the interaction have been. So for the government to convict her, to prove their case, they must establish that she knowingly participated in this, and they can show evidence that she knew what she was doing. She took the money. You are money laundering, for instance, is taking dirty money and watching it to make it clean, or you know what you're doing. So if they can establish that, then. But if they cannot establish that, she will walk free. So that's what we, because the debate is, and they also said there is no immunity, there's no special way to arrest former president, former vice president, former senator. There's no special way. We're all equal before the law. There was a little debate that you should give the former leaders, because they've met certain threshold to be up there. So if they are no longer there, there should be some form of consideration. There was a little debate, and it was ironed out that nobody should be treated differently when it comes to the law. Most of these things, they are all opinions. And so that's how we concluded the case with the law. I tried very hard not to make it political. And I invited them, if you want to be political, we can come here, but we want to look at the law. That's what we talk about.
I mean, in terms of this whole case, Dennis, I like to see it from the perspective that, yes, in theory, yeah, everybody's supposed to be equal under the law. That is what the theory of everybody equal under the law is supposed to be. But in reality, it's just not the same. In reality, there's always some kind of consideration for certain individuals because of the
You mean
status.
preferential treatment?
It may not be preferential, but you have to. So let me just assume this. Let's assume now Joelle gets arrested. You take her to Moravia Central Prison. You put her in the prison just like everybody else. All the places, general prison, all the women you put them, that's where she belongs, because everybody's equal under the law. Something happens to her, let's say, God forbid, she passes away. It becomes the state responsibility, right? You don't have all of the evidence you've collected. You don't have all of the information that you needed from her. But somehow, because she's not conditioned to the kind of environment you put her in, she gets sick and she dies. It creates bigger problem for the state. So, in my view,
But
because
the
of
state
some of
will not
that,
be liable. It's just a problem, maybe expensive. But the
I
state
mean,
is not committing a crime for that.
no, they're not. But the
Okay.
state can be held liable for not providing a conducive environment for people. Prison is not a judgment. You holding someone to say, okay, I'm putting you in this space until you can prove that you are innocent. So putting them in that space, you are responsible to make sure that they are protected, that they
Yeah.
are healthy, they eat, that they breathe air, all
Right.
the fundamental rights they have there, those rights must be protected while you are holding them. So you're taking on that liability to do that. And if the
Right.
state cannot do that adequately, the state is held responsible. So I'm
Right.
just saying, you know,
Even for any, and I asked that question, right? Even for any other detainee, right? You're supposed to make sure if they are sick, you're supposed to take them for treatment. If they have to take their blood pressure, you have to do all that, right? If you don't do that, you are liable because they are in your care.
it's true. It's true. But I'm not disagreeing with that. All I'm saying is because that certain Liberian that have, attained certain level in society, they may not be socially conditioned to that environment that you put them in that is, dilapidated. Is everybody know how Moravia Central Prison is. We
Yeah.
don't have to go through. So in theory, yes, you're supposed to treat everybody equally. But then at certain things that you just cannot do. So in my mind, you have to make it a little bit conducive. Don't make it comfortable. Make it a little bit conducive so that that person, the liability that you take on to put them in that space, you can also make sure that liability is protected so that they don't get impacted by the terrible conditions of the prison. That would be my take on it.
Dr. Pearson?
Yeah, let me provide my opening thoughts on some of the things I was just discussed. I think it was just maybe it just slipped from Kuman, but I don't think people who are like in the case of Joel, I don't think people are arrested on the basis of being guilty and having to go to court to prove themselves innocent. The way the law works in our constitution is that a person is innocent until proven guilty. And when you go to the court of law, it is not on the person who has been accused to clarify that they are innocent. It is upon the prosecution to prove that they are guilty on the charges that is provided against them. So I would like to make that clarity.
You are correct. Yes.
Yeah, thank
Maybe
you.
he misspoke, but that's what he meant.
Yeah, I sure.
Yeah.
That's
What I
what I
meant,
said. I
yeah.
said, oh, there probably was a slip. Another
Yeah.
thing here is that not everyone in praising are there under the same gravity, under the same gravity of responsibility. So if John Brown has already been presented to court and found guilty and incarcerated for term, he's different from someone who is being pre-detained, waiting trial. The two are not the same. And another thing I want to clarify here is that I'm not a lawyer. Let me even though law in my family, I'm not a lawyer. We're one of the chief justices there before. But again, I want to clarify something again, just as opening statement. I hear people saying, "Oh, Liberia prisons are very deplorable." It's very deplorable, Dennis. At the time I was in Liberia, with NGO, were going from prison to prison, and like maybe trying to go take out somebody said tonight you're sleeping in jail because because I get power. So the thing you did, you sleep in jail tonight, and then neighbors will come and get to me, or they will call me from my office. Then I will have to go to the police station to go take some of my community members out of the jail because someone who had power said the person was sleeping in jail tonight. Then it's when you walk into the different police depot. They live holding themselves together. The first thing that hits you when you get there is the stench and the heat. It hits you like you walk into a brick wall. And when you leave from in those places, those confined spaces, Dennis, you will smell a very strong stench for about 2 to 3, 4 hours before that stench leaves you. And I don't think prison was meant to be like that. And I think we need to do something about the prison compound. Maybe somebody will say, someone said the other day, it is a good thing that the top bride had been going there a few days so they will realize now that it has to be fixed. But I don't think prison was meant to be inhumane. Right? And I think that's something we need to fix in Liberia. And with that said, last day, then I leave you, Dennis, for my opinion. I hear people quoting the government charge, and I know we're going to go into it. And they're saying she went to a meeting in Dubai and agreed to sanction drug trade in Liberia. And the way the charge sheet is written, they did not, a lot of people who will not know that they are quoting a previously convicted felon, which is the Sheikh Kante. Kante was convicted for money for fraud, for wire fraud in the United States. He served term. They put him on bail. He has squandered the bill and he escaped. And he out there. The American government has a warrant out for his arrest. Now he's finding a way to maybe to go for someone to go easy on him to buy a way out of that. Is that the case here? So is he a credible witness? That's a whole different argument all by itself. I hope we can get a chance to go there because a witness against
this. Can go there now. You say he's finding a way, or you believe he may be finding a way.
Then is in law and in criminal prosecution, people get leniency with the law if they serve maybe a state witness, or they found to be collaborating with law enforcement or with the courts in pursuit of maybe a higher.
You already saying for a fact that's what he's doing. That's what you are saying.
No, Dennis, you are a very good journalist, the best in the business all these years. Don't put me in a situation where I will have to go and defend an allegation against someone that I may not have all of the proof to put forth. I'm saying to you, people who are in this kind of a situation, trying to run from the law, will have an opportunity tomorrow, and somebody present them with an opportunity and say, you know what, if they can help us in this case, we can let you in, we can go easy on you on other situations that we have against you. So he's not a credible witness. That's what I'm saying. He's a fugitive of the law.
Okay. Thank you. And then the question will come, if Joel and Basiru were actually friends, the question will come, what are you doing hanging around the fugitive of the law? I mean, this is the vice president of the country. Why are you buddy with somebody who is on the run, for instance? Morris, you get where I'm going? Right. So the questions may go both ways, Dr. Pearson. That's my point.
Yeah, and but also, I mean, I get the point that Dr. Pearson is making. That burden heavily lies with Joel's counsel. They have to argue that the witness that the state is presenting does not have credibility. And they have to present the case for the jury to be convinced. Part of the thing that I see with this thing, Dennis, is we're gonna have another experience in Liberia judiciary trial system that will show again once more that we do not have a clear jury process that can bring quality people to make decisions on critical matter like these. Sort of like the Samuel Tour situation, we have similar thing with Joel. If care is not taken,
it could be the jury selection process.
I'm not sure what that jury selection process look like in Liberia. Somebody needs to educate me on it because I don't know what it looks like. It seems like there's
the way it looks like is people see it as a job.
Yes.
So when you are the guy doing it, you will tell the people in your yard, all the people that have been coming to your house for some. According to people that are there, they say those guys then go around, and they are the same people because they have that that inside knowledge that something is going on. So we need this person. So people go around. So that jury selection process, it has problem. But
it's and so how do you get, how do you say everyone is equal under the law and the law is fair and just when there are, loopholes that people can
there are loopholes.
exploit.
And concerning this Kante, whether it's credible or not, I think they will be looking at evidence. Because if this guy is not credible or not, if he can produce email exchanges that Madam Taylor was knowingly participating, for instance, if he can show proof, recordings, pictures, video footages, and things like that of their meetings, people will examine those evidence and come up with something. So we can dismiss him even before the trial.
Yeah, Dennis, you're making some very valid points, but my concern would be, and I know we yet to get into the show, but my concern would be,
that is sure, yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, after talking points that you probably have on hand, but yeah, here's what I'm thinking when the point you just made, right? My wife said I shouldn't shout today because it is very important, so I will take my time. So let's assume there are email exchanges, right? Or there are text messages. If there are emails that are saying, "Oh, how is your business? My business is okay. We're doing good. Oh, that's nice."
No, how is the cocaine business?
Right. Because I have known from my number of years I've lived in photo cases that had to do with drug and thing. I have seen law enforcement very wary in picking up drug cartel members without catching them in the act and committing the act with the hard evidence on them. Because those are not charges, those are not things you take to court and you can just get a flimsy guilty verdict. You have to have, evidence beyond reasonable doubt. So I can send email to Conte and then tell him, Wyoming, $45,000. I say, okay, Chief, I'm sending it to you now. That does not mean I'm getting drug money from him. For that to be a drug money, there has to be an evidence of a transaction that is clearly leaning to that product being changed and that product changing hands. So it's not that easy.
No, I mean, I want to say, them directly changing hands with the product, but there has to be evidence of her knowingly, hearing Bashiru say, "Hey, these guys are drug traffickers. They want to use Liberia as a hub to transit drug from one place to another." And she has to be able to be in that same video recording, audio recording, saying, "Yes, I agree, and I will help to facilitate that process."
Right.
I agree with that.
And that is a very difficult case to prove. I don't know what they have, but it's a very difficult case to prove.
The money they talk about that's going to change hands, and then they go to the bank account, they can corroborate that there's money being wired, and they did that, they agree on that tape or something like that. And the government is telling us that they have that, and it will be interesting to kind of look into it. But overall, what does this what do the charges, these charges, what they legally mean? Because the lawyers explain them to me, right? And they are all non-billable. That's felony, and they are grave because there's a law that say do not traffic cocaine. There are substances that you cannot, deal with, like moving them or storing them or doing anything of that nature. And Madame Taylor also works in a bank. She worked she's a lawyer as well, and also senator. So she knows, right? But do you think the evidence? We already talked about that. To you now, what do this really mean? That the government can bring them against the former vice president? Many are saying, "Hey, if the government had proved, they would not say." Is that enough for Murray?
Then do us a favor. Can we get to those charges one charge at a time?
I don't want to put you in a case of a lawyer, so that's why I'm
No, we're not a lawyer, but we can speak to it one. We can have an opinion on each charge at a time, and that will inform our conversation better. Because as I said, my website should be
careful. Can be how you answer me as a lawyer.
Yeah, that go. My uncle was a lawyer. We can go there. That go. Okay. Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia. That go there.
All right. Let me go to the charge sheet. You guys there listed them, and the reason why defendant Joel Howard Taylor was in Dubai, she received $45,000 for shopping. He said, "Go shop." I don't know how somebody can prove that or how that pertains to these charges. Number one,
So 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 then is that one that one that's not charged. That one that you
no,
mom want to tell you or the other day I said they listed the 8 charges, but they did not
right.
give circumstances that led them to getting there. So those are circumstances that it's getting them to where they reach to say, okay, then they charging her. But let's look at that while you're looking for it. Let's look at that criminal center about later.
Unlicensed exportation of controlled drugs and substance. That's one.
What did the lawyer say to you and when you mentioned that to them?
You see that I don't,
Yeah. No, just be brief, just paraphrase. What they said to you about that?
no, we didn't go charge by charge, right? Because we don't want to discuss the merit of the case. So what we're saying is these charges, what are they? They are felony charges. They, according to our drug law, they are unbailable, and this is what you need to prove them, right? Because if they are charging you for exporting unlicensed, because you need license to export something, unlicensed exportation of controls, so it means Jewel was part of the drug being exported from one point to the other.
So let me get my opinion on that, right? So in my layman understanding, what I'm understanding the government to be saying is that Joel has a stake in the trafficking venture because she must have had a stake to have ownership of the shipment. Because they're not saying she facilitated the shipment, they're saying she illegally shipped these cocaine out without having lessons to shipping. So then in my mind, if I'm in my layman understanding, you cannot hold me responsible for the Dennis John FOL broadcast that you're suing and say I'm being sued for broadcasting if I don't hold a stake in Dennis John's business. Does that make sense, Dennis? I'm gonna hold a stake in Dennis John's business to say that I broadcasted for Dennis John. Mm-hmm. Or I may have facilitated, because those are two different charges. I know they got facilitation in there. But
when you say hold a stake, when you say hold a stake, they say, hey, take this thing for us. When you carry it, we'll pay you $500. And you carry it. What's the stake?
Facilitation. That facilitation. That criminal facilitation.
I think there's definitely a heavy burden on the government to prove all of the charges that they have against her. Where I'm usually, focused because I know Dr. Pearson, you did talk about circumstantial evidence. I think some of what Dennis was presenting, like the $45,000 for shopping, stuff like that. Yeah, those are circumstantial. It's hard to prove that $45,000 was an inducement for the actual drug trafficking, right?
How does it link to the drug trafficking?
So they have to provide additional connection that can prove that the $45,000 is directly connected to the drug transaction or the drug trafficking process. Because if you say this, the person has unlicensed traffic drug, then you have to prove that they actually did the actual process. Exactly. Or they facilitated that process.
Exactly.
And what the government we haven't seen all the evidence they have yet. So what they've shown us is what we can actually make some assumptions about. And like you said, Dr. Pearson, none of us are lawyers. What we can do is just make our own assumption based on how we understand this thing. But I also feel like there is a structural lapse within the Liberia judicial system that may be the cause of not producing a fair and unbiased trial. For me, that's more important to me than the actual theatrics of the legal argument. It's whether the system itself is able to withstand what fair and unbiased trial means for her as a person. It's a big case. The government has to show clearly that the system can do it without people assuming that it's a broken system, whatever that means.
I think that's fair enough. And there where public confidence comes in, right? Because look, for me, I've come to a point where I have a level of confidence in the courts, especially under this administration. I can tell you why. My confidence comes from the fact that majority of the tenure cases, that were violated by President Boykai, and people went to the court to get remedy. They did get remedy under the law. The problem was President Boykai did not respect the verdict of the court. That's where the problem was for me. And then when you look carefully again, you look at the Samuel Tuer case, right? He's one of those high-profile individuals that they wanted incarcerated by all means, were flipping all of the coin that would flip to get him. When he finally went through the process, he was found not guilty, right? And we still see the political fight to want him to be found guilty. So to an extent, I do have some confidence in the law, in the courts. My fear here is the fact that people just use that expression, let the law be the law, and let a person go and prove themselves, and go through the process. Now, going through the process is not the thing. The person can go through the process like Samuel Tuer and come out free, and acquitted. But the point here is that you would have caused a lot of damage on them politically. And so if the intention was just to do some political damage and score political points and score political score, there where I have the problem, serious problem. And my confidence is very low in that direction.
Dr. Pearson, you seem to be so concerned about character than if there's the harm that drug is doing. Let's say, like in this case, Madam Taylor is innocent until proven guilty. But you are leaning more on damaging your character than drug damaging the country.
Because at this point, Dennis, you didn't ask me to discuss the level of harm of drug on the society. We are discussing.
No, but I'm seeing your emphasis there that hey, they are damaging somebody's political career.
I'm answering you honestly. You did not call me to discuss the irreparable harm of drug on the society. If you want us to discuss that, then say let's start from what the harm that drug is having on society.
No, we are discussing Joe Howard Taylor's case.
Yeah, but listen.
What he's being accused of is she is knowingly bringing in and exporting cocaine. She is storing it. She's doing money laundering. Control substance, and you already know the harm drug is causing.
Then it's a fair question for you. Otherwise, you just listen. Do you have proof to that?
That's what the case is in court.
Again, you see that one. That's why we need to be careful. The same thing I'm passionate about preventing.
No, you are passionate about the character and how we should be careful.
Exactly.
I don't see your passion on. I don't see your passion on the damage that drug is doing.
Because we're not discussing, you didn't ask me to discuss the damage of drug on the society. We're discussing Joe Howard Taylor. Our constitution provides that the person is innocent until proven guilty. But you are telling me I should be vexed with her and bother about this because of what drug is. So what drug? Let me lay in it because my wife, I shouldn't be excited. So don't get me excited.
You keep reminding us.
The point I'm trying to drop out here is that you are discussing two different things. If you wanted to discuss the impact of drug on society, we can have that conversation. But we're not having that conversation. The conversation we're having is the fact that someone is innocent and they're going to court to prove themselves, and for the government to prove that they are guilty as charged. No, they are not guilty until the court finds that out. I cannot take the drug aggression on her and then find her to be like guilty before she even get to a fair trial. That's unfair. That's very unfair, Dennis.
Dennis, I think the other thing that caught my attention in part of this whole conversation is the fact that the way the government is presenting its case, the government has to be extremely careful because the government has to show that it's being objective and not targeting her because she's an opposition political figure. If the allegation against Joel is from 2021 to 2026, all the conversation they said they have, there has to be someone currently I really, and I had this conversation with some of my friends earlier
Mhm.
today. There has to be people within the current government
Right.
that are directly also involved in either facilitating
Right.
or some kind of way having an opportunity for these people to the drugs that were arrested in 2026. There's no way Joel, as an opposition person, was involved in the trafficking of those drugs.
And you can say that for a fact. That's what we're waiting for. But and what you are saying, you were correct because I said the same thing, right?
Yeah,
So according to them, these guys they were in the country and then they left. I think 2021 or 2022.
yeah,
But then they found it expedient to come back 2025.
yeah.
And if they are coming back, definitely
Joel no
Joel
longer
Howard
there.
Taylor will not be the point person.
That's correct.
So there could be another person.
Yep.
But being an opposition figure is not a shield, or no longer being in power is not a shield. And we can have two, three, up to 10 persons that are doing one thing, right? So it is not an excuse, or because they are excusing people in that are currently facilitating does not excuse someone who facilitated 2, 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, I mean it's fair, but I'm saying the government, for people, public trust to continue to be
Yeah,
in the system, the government must show good faith that is actually
yeah.
being objective, because they are. We've seen people within the administration at the Labrador National Police level, at the LDA, that have gotten dismissed from their
And
positions
NSA,
and NSA, but they're still
yeah.
walking around, and nobody have faced any charges. Nobody have been arrested, for or face charges for
Mhm.
what their involvement is with this drug thing, right? But
Yeah,
now we see a heavyweight within the opposition circle gets arrested and publicly taken to prison under all these different charges. Whether those people are helping the government to find bigger fish is a whole different argument.
yeah,
But they must show good faith that the process that they're going through is objective and it's
Mhm.
not targeted towards a particular group of people within a country. Otherwise, then it create acrimony, and then next thing you know, it's us versus them, and then you have some other problems.
So let's talk about public trust and credibility, which are all fair due, or Dr. Pearson. Because for us, the public, to believe that you're doing the right thing, we must see fairness, we must see transparency. If we don't see that, we doubt you. Notwithstanding, that is not a cover for
No, it's not.
somebody who is also doing it, but is not in government. Dr. Pearson, your take.
So, and I mean, Mr. Krumah made some very strong points. And I think that that's a very key point that we should be having a conversation around right now.
Mhm.
First of all, it should be established that the government has not been able to tell us since the $19 million drug bust and the $300+ million drug bust how the drug got into the country.
Yeah.
They have not told us a clear-cut story on that. So something is wrong here. Another thing that they have now done is that they have now demonstrated to us that the same zeal
Mhm.
with which they planted Madam Taylor's arrest,
Mhm.
that same zeal is being exercised against just anyone who is within the cycle of the Unity Party. What do I mean by that? The Peter King and Paul King brothers, they
Yeah.
were caught in the act. In the act.
Yeah.
And the king's brother one of the king's brother was still working under President Boycott without any pressure until public sentiments grew to an extent that he was so embarrassed. He had to tell the man, get to the side until we can investigate him. But we're trying to, in the person letter, he said, you are not guilty. We say you're guilty, and you're innocent until you can be. They were pampering the situation. And said, go rest. Meanwhile, his brother who took the call with the cocaine from his house straight to the airport or going on to Brussels airline was in the country for almost 3 weeks, and he was never aggressively arrested and charged and sent to court until the very same public pressure. Joseph Boycott Jr. receives a call, a text message from people alleging to be cartel, and he responds to them directly. And then the video that circulated with his name being called in it, he replying to the public and say, "Oh, 6-page letter. You know, I don't know the people, blah, blah, blah." Even though I went and had a meeting with them, but I went with meeting or with another protocol, blah, blah. He all those part of stories. And there's no instance that we saw the government of Liberia to the national police make a move on him or set him by the Joint Security, set him to answer questions. Now, what am I driving to here? I'm not going to talk about all the other small fish then that they have hanging around. There's no public sentiment around how they're treating them, whether they're still impressing right now. But when you put these things together, Dennis, it goes to say that there are people who likely may be in this administration looking towards 2029, and they feel that to secure themselves and power around them, they will go after opposition politicians and denigrate them and destroy them to give them a walk in the park. So I won't be surprised if they make up these things to make these people to be so frustrated and so distraught that they walk into 2029 without any strong opposition to them for the elections. Now, these are things that we don't want to happen. And I would pray that it does not happen because it impinges the integrity of the investigation.
Right. And the opposite of what you say is also true, right? So let's say we have 10 witchcraft, 5 of them for Unity Party and 5 of them for CDC or the previous government. So if we catch the 10, if they catch the 10 witchcraft for CDC and leave out the 5, if they catch the 5 for CDC and leave out the 5, then let me use drug dealer. If there are drug dealers in the previous government and drug dealers in the current government, if they will catch only the 5 in the previous government and leave out the 5 in the current government, will we be happy at least that 5 drug dealers are leaving the street, or are we saying if we can catch the Unity Party 5, let's leave the other 5 alone? What will be a strong argument?
Yeah, I think people just want to see a fair process. I think for the most part, people have actually acknowledged the effort of the government. You know, most people have said, you know, the government has done well with, you know, this fight against the drug. People have lost their job. You know, people have been fired. But when you start to arrest and levy charges, people start looking at the historical precedents. Most times, Dennis, people know that government always try to cover up for its own cat can eat your own baby. You know, it's a common saying in Liberia that cat can eat your own baby, right? So if you start to see that there are just indications of cover up, then it means the government is not being honest with the public. Then it erodes public trust.
But even though the government is not eating its own baby, but can we celebrate the eating if those guys are actual drug dealers?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Can we, because I don't want a situation where we let drug dealers go because we didn't get all 10.
No. So you want to make it, what you seem to be arguing that we'll do either or. And I'm saying to you, Dennis, that you can do either and still not do the or deliberately, which create a different narrative in the mind of the public to say, well, your goal is not to fight drugs. Your goal is to, like Dr. Pearson said, to diminish the opposition and weaken the opposition so much that it creates a smoother path for you to the next election. So people will start to lose focus on what the war against drug is, but to focus on more of the political side. I think that's where the debate sometimes can get a little, you know, depending on how the government operates with this thing, but they have to be extremely careful so people don't see it as a political fight rather than actually a genuine fight to actually bring this drug thing to an end in the country.
And don't you think that we should be looking at the evidence more, like as long as the government can bring evidence that whoever the occasion, even if that person is from the government, right? Whoever that is being caught,
yes,
is not connected to drug business in the country. Can we go after the evidence more than going after fairness? Even though I love fairness,
Yeah, so you
but
go
I
after
don't want
evidence for
fairness
people
to
that
blind
are
us now that we become protector of people that are or protector of criminals.
no, it's not protecting criminals, Dennis. If you go after people that were in power in 2021 up to
Mhm.
2023, and you're arresting them and you're charging them, putting them through the court process, we'll clap for you and say, yeah, you're doing a really good job.
Okay, stop there.
Okay.
Let Pearson agree with that or not. Because I don't think Pearson will even clap because they didn't arrest the Unity Party people.
No,
You see, Dennis.
but
This is
go ahead, yes, if you know, I'll make my point. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Krumah can have you make your point so you don't lose your thought.
Yeah, so I was just saying, once we get to that point where you get a 2021 to 2023 folks, you arrest them, you charge them, we'll clap for you and say, yeah, you're doing a good job. But then what happened to the drugs that were the $319 million drugs that were arrested in 2026? What happened to the $19 million drugs that were arrested in 2026? Are you saying that all those drugs are still connected to the people that are in 2021 and 2023? You see what I'm saying, right, Dennis? There has to be other things inside this other investigation that you probably, and you actually have fired people. You have fired people from their positions. Why are those people not going through the same legal process like everybody else? Are you saying you wouldn't firing them because they did not meet the standard or expectation of the role that you put them in? You firing them because they're connected to drug? Those questions have not been answered yet, and that's
Yeah.
where my
And they are legitimate questions. And because they have not been answered, just leave Joel alone.
No.
Right?
You putting that one there. I'm not putting that there. You
No, I'm just finding out. This is my job to just find out. Dr. Pearson.
Yes, Dennis. I will answer the last question you just asked, Krumah. Because you are not honestly fighting drug, but collecting everyone attached to it, especially those who are, like the Krumah says, currently in power and has the capacity and influence to allow the drug trade to happen. If you're not arresting them and making an example of them, you want to go way about the 2021 for the 2022 $100 million drug that was caught and the case got prosecuted and finished ever since. You want to go back to that. So should we let Joao Taylor go because of how they treating the drug case here now? I say yes. Let her go. Let me tell you why I was saying that.
No, stop there. I want
No, I gotta finish. I gotta finish.
To react to that part.
No, I gotta finish.
That's where the argument is.
Dennis, I have to finish. Because that's
not
my
write it down.
Dennis, I'm being sarcastic. Maybe you're not getting it, so let me learn.
Because that has been your argument throughout. That's why I'm pushing it.
No, Dennis, let me learn.
Right. Okay, sir.
I'm a politician by breath. Now, let me say this to you. The reason I say that is because that is the problem of Liberia. We don't solve problems. We play with them. And when you don't want to solve the problem, then don't play with the problem. To solve the entrenched penetration of drug cartel in Liberia today, you must prosecute strongly every single lead. Investigate them thoroughly and prosecute everyone connected, regardless if it is Joseph Boakar's son, or if it's his wife, or if it's a former vice president, or if it's the former president, whoever the evidence lead to, prosecute them. Because you know why? If you don't do it right, it's almost like cancer. You can take part of the cancer out. If you don't get the whole of the cancer, then there's no need. The patient will still die. The patient will still die. So I'm not going to cut anyone a slack. I'm not going to cut Joseph Boakar a slack. I'm not going to cut where it needs that Gregory Como a slack and say, oh yeah, you can go and catch few people from the old part or the old government and let a new one and stay and go and then
the a slack.
It's not going to work.
All right, Morris, please react to that.
I mean, in terms of me just looking at, I'm just trying to make sure that we have a fair and unbiased process.
I heard that before.
Yeah.
PSC is saying if we can't get Jojo Boakar, let Joel go.
No, I don't agree with that. I think
why
each individual must carry their own cross. Everyone that has an opportunity, well, that is suspected or alleged to be involved in this case of drug must face the full weight of the law. That's all. That's the argument I'm making. So plus Joel, minus Joel, everyone must face the full weight of the law and let the law see itself as being unbiased. For me, that's the only argument I make here.
Right.
That's
And
all
what
I
are
I
you?
think, I
What
think we're
are
saying
you?
the same thing though. I think we're saying you're just saying it
No,
differently.
no,
But
Yeah.
the two of you are not saying the same thing. You are saying, since it's not fair, leave Joel alone.
no, that's not what I'm saying.
Because I
No,
don't see you
you
putting
see,
any scrutiny on Joel. On Joel.
no, Dennis, then you did not get the premise on which my argument is based. You want to solve a problem. Let me tell you something. When you go after criminals, it's because you want to solve a problem.
It's not a matter of solving drug problem. We want this drug problem solved, but we want to prosecute criminals. But you
No,
are saying, as
then we don't have
long
the
as
same
this
objective.
prosecution will not solve the drug problem, leave it alone.
No, we don't. Then we don't have the same objective here. Because for me, unless you're saying Liberia doesn't have the objective of Liberia, and what I heard from the justice minister and the national security apparatus, the joint security, they said they want to dismantle the cartel. And I'm arguing here, Dennis, you cannot dismantle the cartel by building fences around certain people and going after certain people politically. Then you're not solving the problem. You are not dismantling the cartel. That's a flawed exercise. That's what I'm saying.
For whoever commits a crime should pay for the crime they commit.
I agree. I'm not arguing that.
So if Joel Howard Taylor commits this crime, she must pay for it, whether Jojo Boaka or Biago is also paying for their crime. The two are two independent variables.
I will put it this way. Anyone charged to court and found guilty of crimes committed against the state must face the full weight of the law. I don't argue that. Your argument was, and I go back to what you said, as long as the government can grab some people and prosecute them, and if they leave some people, then we should be happy. No, that does not solve the problem. That's my argument. It does not. Then we should leave the entire process and let them run the drugs. Because Joe is not running drug on President Boaka. It's not going to happen. Boaka running his own drug. It was Boaka police that escorted the drug from wherever they came in the country to the station point. It was Boaka police that escorted the drug from the station point to the airport. It was Boaka police that did not man the cargo area at the airport. It was Boaka police that were intending to have that cocaine get on Brussels airline. It was not Joel Howard Taylor police. No. That should be clearly stated.
Then is that there are several unanswered questions that I think the government will have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt
And I agree to
that Joel Howard Taylor knowingly was presented with this proposal of facilitating drug into Liberia, and she agreed to do it.
Yeah.
When I look at what they presented, to be honest with you, I'm still struggling to really be convinced that they have sufficient evidence to prove that. Between you and I, to be honest, when I look at, for example, they're throwing all these monetary value. They're not telling us whether the money that she received was received electronically, whether it was cash, that were presented to her, whether she knew that the money that she received, that money was actually a fruit of crime that had been committed in the past, that she knowingly received that money and she went and spent it. Those kinds of things. I'm not a lawyer, Dennis, but I'm just saying the sequence of the way that they present the argument. Yeah, I think there'll be some lawyers that will punch a lot of holes in it. We'll see, what happens during the trial, but I'm really eager to see how this thing goes, because it's going to set the country up. Whether Joelle gets free or she stays in jail as a convicted, criminal, this have set the stage for a new beginning in Liberia. I can almost certainly promise you, when Unity Party leaves power, whoever comes to power next, and they start to open the books, nobody is free. including the president will not be free. Because if there are allegations and evidence of wrongdoing, they will go after those people too, and those people will have to, account for their stewardship.
You like that?
I love it. It's good for the
Right.
country. It's really good
And I
for the
think
country.
I've spoken to one law enforcement officer. He said that's the only bright spot that he sees. That's the light at the end of the tunnel. Let's say if Joe Walker now can go after drug people from the we administration, and it's genuine, it's fair, they can prove and get them to jail, right? Convict
Yep.
them, and then leave their own people. But another government is coming, will grab those people too and prove, not witch hunting, not
Yep.
making up stuff. So
Yep.
eventually, even though that's not what we want, but eventually people will be scared to do something because they know nothing lasts forever. But
Yeah.
that's dangerous because our presidential term too long. I mean, take for instance, George Howard was there for 18 years, Prince Johnson 18 years. So by that time, memory will fade and everything else will disappear. So it's dangerous, but this speaks to problem with our judicial and governance structure. So let's talk to that. How do we avoid this? How do we fight this? That you can only prosecute the other people, you can prosecute you and your people, because it's very clear that even when starting with the audit, that the current government was not going after its own people when it came to auditing the audit findings. Now we're coming to drug, and it's the same thing. What's the solution?
Uh, Dennis, give me a second to talk about the last point you raised before this question. You
Okay.
mentioned that say President Boyka and his guys say, like you said, prosecuted fairly, not fairly, but prosecuted properly those who are actually guilty of involvement with this cartel, but they're from the opposition, right? And the assumption is that that's a breast spot because the person who come after them will do the same on the other side. So you come and clean one side, the other person come and clean another side. Listen, these conversations must be had in concert with our political history. And not only our political history, but with the political history of Africa and then globally in geopolitics. Any administration that comes to power and witch hunt, eventually, because of what they would have done, leaving power becomes very critical decision for them to make. It makes it harder for them to give away power.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, they will do everything within their power to remain in power. And that's why we are afraid that what we see happening now is not a good sign. If you want to do it right. If you don't want to do it right, then leave it. When
Then leave
Mr.
everything
Trump comes to
alone.
become president tomorrow, he will handle it. When what is his name? Jawon going to become president tomorrow, he will handle it. President Barker has already put his nephew over the National Election Commission. President Barker is consolidating power. He's not respecting the courts. His justice minister is misinterpreting the opinion of the court, the Supreme Court of Liberia, and allowing the Supreme Court to come and rebuke him for doing that. We've seen the misstep. We cannot allow this government to continue to entrench itself in power, and in addition to it, add bad behavior that will make it even more difficult for them to leave power when the time comes. So I don't find this to be a comfortable place for me because I know what politics is like, and I don't think we should be going in that direction at all. At all. I will give Roman chance to speak to the last question you asked him. I will gather my thoughts on that.
Right, because I'm not advocating that, hey, the Lone Star did well something that, hey, since we can't have this, we should have this. What I'm saying is I'm for criminals leaving our street. So just like the Bible that you preach says, when one sinner repent, thousands of angels rejoice in heaven. When one criminal leaves the street, that's victory for the country. But you were saying you're not persecuting everybody, so just leave it alone. That's where you and I differ. I'm not okay with Waka leaving his own people to go after the other people. But at least if I can get one criminal off the street, it's one child life being saved. And that's where, and I don't see your passion. And I still don't see the passion of you, the way you want to exonerate Joel Howard Taylor so much, or you are so vexed because her name is being mentioned and it's going to spoil her political career. I don't see you angry, expressing, like what if she's convicted? What if she's the one? What if she actually did what she's being accused of? Will you have egg on your face, or you what are you gonna do?
So you have just indicted me on so many counts right now. Let me see if I can undo some of those indictments. Dennis, I repeated to you over and over on the show. If you want us to have you and I to have a conversation on the impact of drug on our society, we can have that conversation.
But how can this be exclusive from the conversation we have now?
We are not sitting on the show discussing the impact of drug on the society. That's not what we're having here. Our laws provides that an individual is innocent until proven guilty. You are telling me to be vexed with Joel Taylor, have emotions exerted at her because she's alleged to be involved in a situation that you are vexed about. No. If the judge went to this case here, or the jurors went to this case here feeling the way you're feeling, they will find her guilty before they can even hear evidence. Because you're saying because you dealt with drug, you should be dealt with the person you accused. But the law is saying the person who has been accused is innocent until proven guilty. What part there you have not understood, Dennis?
I don't understand why you are not even talking about the evidence, right? All you are saying is the Bouakai government is not fair. The Bouakai government is not fair. So since it's not fair, just take your hands off. Do not prosecute anyone until you leave office because you are not doing it fairly.
I don't think that what you must have said here, though. You must have said what you said, and I respond to you on that. But because you impeaching my character. You impeaching my character. Let me clarify. That was not the discussion. The discussion you had was that you are okay if those who are on the opposition side are prosecuted today.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say I'm okay. It is not okay.
No. That's what you said. You said you are okay if those who are on the opposition are prosecuted because Bouakai has the courage to go after them, and those in the government don't even prosecute them. It's okay because tomorrow another person will come, they will prosecute Joseph Bouakai people. I'm telling you, no. That does not solve the problem. It does not even solve what you say. It would not hurt somebody on the street. That's a false impression. Let me tell you why it's false. Today, President Bouakai is in power. President Bouakai runs the police. He runs the NSA. He runs the ERU. He runs every enforcement agency, LDA. He runs all of those agencies. If President Bouakai does not put his foot down on people who are functioning in authority in his government, they will do greater harm than those who are in the government before them. That's why they are there to change it. So if you tell me now he must sit down and let his whole honor better be rotting, and then he wouldn't see those around him, I totally disagree with you. That's what I'm saying. Totally disagree with you. 100%. Let me put that there.
You're the witness here.
I mean, I can see how Dr. Pearson's allegation against you it can be framed in that way, because you say that, you rather have one person get prosecuted than, nobody at all.
Right.
I can also see your argument where you said that the Pearson obviously said in one part of his statement that, yeah, if it means for Joel to get free, then yeah, let her get released, because the government has to show, and which is some of the argument I have made also, that the government has to show true fit, that it means well to prosecute people that are also currently in this administration and people in the previous administration. From where I sit, it seems like it's actually going after people in the previous administration. We're hearing names
we can all see that
about other officials in the previous administration now that they're thinking about going after again, which clearly will point towards, the narrative that they're targeting opposition figures.
But the opposition, do they actually do it, or they didn't do it and they lie on them?
Did they have to do what?
Did they actually commit the crime they're being accused of?
So we don't know. We don't know if Joel committed a crime.
What if they did?
Yeah, they should get prosecuted, Dennis. Anyone that committed a crime should get prosecuted.
That's all I'm saying. I'm happy with one criminal leaving the street then we leave all of them until we reach this perfect state where everybody is being persecuted.
But then, so that person is saying to you, you can't say you're happy with one criminal living the street. When you say criminal living the street, you are assuming already that that person is guilty of the crime that they committed.
No.
Because criminal means that the outcome, you already got to the outcome
No,
already.
I'm talking about outcome. I'm saying if they can go after, if these people genuinely commit the crime and they are being able to be convicted,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Not witch hunt,
yes,
not because you want to destroy their political career, not it. But if they actually did it, I'm happy with one of them leaving the street and being beyond bars.
I don't think there's any disagreement between you and Dr. Pearson on that one.
Yeah, there's no disagreement on
that.
that.
Dr. Pearson disagree.
No.
Dr. Pearson is saying,
don't stretch your V. I say I agree with you on this. The person is full.
The person you agree with, you say no, then you agree.
Yeah. You see,
I want you to disagree so I can have a point.
I agree with you. And you clarify. Kroma said you said if the person is found to be guilty.
Yes.
In this case, these are allegations thrown out on people who are opposition and they're running them in the mud. And that's and leaving their side behind. That's a problem. Because the India does not justify the means to come and do another politics here. It's not just the law, that's politics.
Yeah. And really so I was talking to you now, the question I asked which you didn't, maybe we can get to it now, is there's a problem with our judicial system and there's also a problem with our governance system. I mean, as long as you get there, you get your people, like what we even see in our own place here, just get your people to those places, they can trust everything for you. And whatever you do, everybody who is part of it, who's your partisan, will defend it.
Yeah.
And everybody who's opposed to you, whether you're doing the right thing, they will find it wrong. Yeah. It's annoying. How do we fix this?
I hate to be a doomsday prophet, Dennis, but I can't see a solution to this problem in Liberia because it's not a CDC or Unity Party government issue or an ANC government issue. It's a societal problem. We've had this conversation in the chat room several times, and I strongly believe that it's a structural problem inside the society. It's endemic.
Who's to fix that structure?
To fix it is to actually start to invest in a new breed of Liberians and shift their thinking from what we have now among our generation. I don't think we have the solution to fix the Liberia problem. Like I said, I'm extremely pessimistic about the future.
I think I can fix it. I think it's a leadership problem. I think if we because anytime we blame, but let me hear from Dr. Pearson first.
Thank you, Venice. Look,
when we blame society, we're just giving up on these leaders.
I told you I will not be too excited. Don't try to get me excited because my West say this is very important. I should take my time. All right. Look, I don't see a problem with our judicial system under President Joseph Yaman Boycott. You know, and I want to draw a dichotomy here. We should understand that the judiciary portion of their work begins where the executive ends. And where
Dr. Pearson, let me hold you there 1 second.
Yeah.
The magistrate in duplicate doesn't even have paper. You say you don't see a problem with our judicial system.
There's
no money. We're already talking about the jury selection process. It's flawed. There are problems. People are not getting paid. They are not getting paid. Our executive is the one who's supposed to dish out these things to them. Our executive appoint them. If you defund them, if you want all kinds of, there's a problem there. Go ahead, sir.
Dennis, you see, that I got one of my friends can tell me, he said, my man, you're in person, you have to talk to because you can narrow the thing down to a small point. Let me narrow it down. I don't think when I'm speaking about the judiciary here right now, I don't think I'm talking about the larger problem of the judiciary, which means that dating and funding and all that kind of thing. I'm looking at the ability of the judiciary to dispense justice. I want so you must say clear on that. I'm looking at the ability of the judiciary to dispense justice. And when it comes to that, I say I don't see any problem with our judicial system right now under President Boycott to be having problem with dispensing justice. And I will give you the reason why. There is a dichotomy between where the executive role ends and where the judicial pick up from. That where I went, where I went when you cut me off. Law enforcement, even though seem to be having two-legged function between the judiciary and the executive, law enforcement function primarily closely with the executive. That is Gregory Coleman, NSA, LDA. They function more with the executive. Those guys, the where their line ends is when they formally charge somebody to court. And let me tell you why you have that appearance of judicial imbalance. Yes, these crooked guys under President Walker, these very crooked guys like the Gregory Coleman, they will have a situation like with Joe Howard Taylor, where they have evidence that the woman has planned to travel. Diplomatically, our vice president and former president and former vice president, none of those high-profile travel from Liberia without informing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Madam Joy Howard Taylor also has a security detail from the EPS. The EPS director is sitting right under President Baka, talking everything about the drug business on Facebook, everything he posting there. So his EPS officers are assigned with the former vice president. He will have information on her if he wants to, especially when she's being surveillance, when she's under surveillance for investigation. Why did they have to make a scene to get her arrested on the guys that they were calling her for questioning, but on the arms of officers? Why do they take people and keep them until last minute time? Gregory Coleman around maybe 5, 6 in the evening before they submit them to court, because they know they will not have time to submit bond, and then hurry to carry them to South Beach so they can sleep in jail. These are all politically motivated. Now, what I know now is that when they abuse the entire system like that, when they, I'm saying that because I know what I'm talking about. Fonadi Kofa was a victim, and other people were victims of the same thing I'm talking about. When they abuse those powers, finally the case end up in the court. Fortunately for us, the court adjudicated the cases fairly. Cummings went in our court on a where he came out because the evidence could not hold him. Mr. Cummings went there. 10 new officers who got the position blatantly disrespected by President Baka and violated. They went to the courts. They got justice. President Baka ignored them. They went there with a speaker situation. The Supreme Court gave their ruling. President Baka deliberately supported the opposition black within the House of Representatives and funded them with taxpayer money through the national budget, gave them money to function outside of the law when the Supreme Court ruling was very clear. It was not the Supreme Court who was at fault. It was the Justice Minister misinforming President Baka. When all of that was done, the Supreme Court came back and said, this is what we actually meant, and they went back and rectified it in the House. When I look at Samuel Tuwe, one of the most hated individuals that the government wanted to be prosecuted, walk in that court and walk out of there acquitted, I see a justice system that is working, right? So I don't blame the courts. I blame how the executive is tampering with the law. That's what I got problem with. If Manajoa Howard Taylor go inside a dentist and the evidence adduced in court is fair, is genuine, it meets the bar, and she's found guilty and sentenced to jail, that's what we want.
Dr. Pearson, I think, so you make some very strong argument. But the judicial system is not strong when opposition win. That is not the indicator of a strong judicial system. Not because to where Fonadi Kofa and all the other cases have gone to court, and the judicial system issue a judgment, it means that the judicial system is working. We have to be able to assess it in a way that it shows that there is a system in place that a person, regardless of the status, the political, ethnic, religious, gender, identity, all the different things that we have a system in place that every single person can come through that system like this and walk out of here, and anybody can evaluate from step 1 to step 10 that every step of the way the law was followed and the person walks scot-free. I think part of what we see with the judiciary sometimes is that, yes, I mean, governance is always going to have politics. There's no way you can take politics out of governance. But I think sometimes, like I said in the chat room there today, we are extremely critical when we are in opposition. And then when somehow when we get in the government, we all of us become to provide justification for why the government is having all of the issues that they're having. We don't seem to have a system where we can say, okay, how do we improve this? How do we ensure that we increase the quality of education? We increase national security. We make sure that people are able to move about freely. That if a cell phone, if a man steals cell phone and a man who get caught in corruption, they face the same weight of the law. You know, 70+% of the people in prison right now are pretrial detainees. That's a clear deficit inside the judicial system. It means the court is clotting up some kind of system that is making people not to go through trial effectively. So all of those things, how do we fix them? We need to be able to assess the entire system in a way that, when we say rule of law, that rule of law should apply and everyone can go through it from point 1 to point 10 without any kind of barrier or hurdle or injustice, as we say, because of their status or non-status at all. Just my take.
Thank you, Morris. At least maybe Dr. Pearson will understand you. The judicial, when you know that Yeke Koluba case went to the Supreme Court, right? You know the outcome. But anyway, Morris put it very, he put it better that the judiciary has a problem. Okay, and Cummings being acquitted is not a litmus test. So, but let us not go there. Let me give Kalebo Gonglo a chance to talk. Kalebo.
Yeah, because you kept on the phone for 16 minutes.
No.
Welcome, comrade.
No, but we didn't open the phone lines here, Mr. Kalebo Gonglo.
No, Dennis, the thing is, the phone line is right there, so I call. Now they only 16 minutes.
No, because we have not read it yet. But Kalebo, go ahead and make your point.
Listen, I don't have much point to make. I listen to the panelists. I see Mr. Kuman, a star of the ruling party.
Hey, Kalebo, stop that, man. Let's come to the issue. Don't stop defining people.
No, Morris is a star of the ruling party. I mean, I should give the man his flower while he's alive. I mean, it's just he contributed to that.
Calebo, make your point now, Calebo. So, I beg you, make your point.
So, it's fun. For me, I don't really want to go much. I just want to throw a bet here that if the government, this indictment that I read today, I'm not a lawyer. If the government win the case against Joe Howard, a rich person, I will give $100 to FOL fundraising. Cash out. That's supplied.
Thank you.
I don't believe this will stand in a scrutiny in judicial or under judicial scrutiny. I don't believe it will stand. That $15,000 is talking about, and I mean just common sense that in August 2006, Joe Howard will receive drug money with the only thing that is discussing like brother's drug. I mean, I'm yet to see that because everything the government put in the arrest order here, which is not going to be different from the indictment. But this is basically what it took to the grand jury. That's a higher evidence. They presented the grand jury to convince them that there is a culpable cause here or probable cause here to actually arrest this person. That's a higher evidence. They can amend it, but they're not going to go more than that. Even be making reference to 2021, 2022, there was no UP government. I know we can go into that. And you're talking about fruits of the crime and all that stuff. If we're talking about taking picture and giving foundation, getting a donation, I think Waka will be arrested. Because Waka Foundation has received so many donation has come from Dubai, from the Emirates. from the Middle East, from dubious sources. But yeah, I'll end on this quickly. I know you say I'm the chief of conspiracy, but I'll end on this. Here's the reality now exactly. Joseph Boaga is an unforgiving old man. And I think that's the misfortune of Liberia. All of Liberian leaders, they don't forgive people easily. We are accused of not forgiving his people, his followers who wrong him. Ellen Johnson said he wrote a book in Pulitzer that said forgiving is difficult for her. Joseph Boaga is like that. Liberia is just a country that is blessed with leaders who don't forgive. Joseph Boaga was enjoying under the Togo government. I have a credible, reliable person in the UP who was very close to Boaga and is from Nimba, and he explained this to me. The reason Boaga said he would dance with the devil, he had a brand new double cabin pickup he bought in 1990 as a minister. He wanted to command that for him. It hurt him so bad. He's never forgiven him. That's why you consider him devil when you're going to him. Charles Taylor, Gerald is a wife of Charles Taylor who brought the war that took Boaga from power in ministerial job. I think basically he's trying to settle score. But if this is a case they have, this is evidence, then Liberia is in trouble. They are questioning Oscar to education. He came from best school, but I think his knowledge of law is very rusty. I've spoken with so many lawyers. Under the Liberian law, I seen a lawyer, the Supreme Court has opined that for a witness, for a testimony, witness testimony to be considered as invalid, there must be another witness that can incorporate or confirm that yes, this happened. If I said Dennis, if I said Dennis, I saw Dennis coming from Morris room with a bag of money. There must be another person that can say yes, I too saw Dennis. It can be my war and Dennis' war. It can be under our law.
Thank you. And that's why the case will go to court and all those things will be adjudicated. Thank you, Mr. Gonglo. We got two issues. We didn't get to the other one yet. But if you watch Facebook now, there are pictures going around, because people trying to establish, because the two people were together, so this person is guilty or this person showed money. So just for the sake of our viewers, let me show you some of the pictures that are going around. You see, this is you know this guy? That's the Basiru, right?
Yep.
So if you say, hey, if you talk about Basiru being with JMB people,
that's not him we're using there though. That's not him.
All right. Oh yeah, that's the other.
That's Poto. That's Poto.
Yeah, that's
yeah, Poto.
Yes.
Joe Poto.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's Poto also. Yeah, this is Bashiru. Yep.
Dennis, what about Poto and the President Boaga?
no,
I should send it to you. You gotta be fair. Yeah, I can send it to you, Nana. Send it to you, Nana.
You see the man how you get excited about anything.
Look, Mr. Kromaki, honestly, I just want to be balanced because if the impression gotta create a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, with reference to what Caleb was saying, right? I think there are some valid point in. I truly also have the strong conviction that the government don't have a very strong case against Mr. Taylor. I'm not a lawyer, but from what I've read, yeah, they have to really prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
And the money they're talking about is even small, right? When you talk about drug campaign,
exactly.
Right. And this is the vice president.
Yep.
So if you are giving that money to me, maybe I will say plenty.
Yep.
Even though I made more money than that. But 15,000.
Dennis, I send you something. Please put it up.
25,000 go shopping. We need something,
just
But 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 two things can be true at the same time.
yeah,
Either she's cheap, she can take grumpy money,
correct.
or it's not true. Another thing is, why would this drug cartel be dealing with former people when they are current people that can facilitate it? But
No,
again,
I mean, so if no money was
They're not waiting
involved
for
at
the picture.
all, if there was absolutely no money involved at all, Dennis, but the evidence still showed that she agreed. They have evidence of either video, in audio, or something showing that Mrs. Taylor participated in a meeting and a conversation knowingly that these guys were involved in drug trafficking, and she participated in a meeting and agreed with no money to just say, okay, we want to do this thing, we want to make Liberia a hub. And she said, yes, I will point you in the right direction, we'll give you passport, we'll do the one here. The fact that she does that one there'll be no better evidence against her that convict her more than that. There'll be no better evidence. But the 25,000 shopping and all the other extra, money that
no,
they
that's what it
indicated.
started with. So if she were in a meeting and she agreed to do this, even if
Again,
they give
Dennis, can I
her 10,
provide a background? Can I provide a very important background?
even if they give her 10 cents, right? As long as you agree that this is what you're gonna do. Maybe
Ah,
you're on a thing cheap.
yep.
So when they give you
Yep.
$5, you can agree. But I
Then,
want us
then,
to go to our next case, which is
Dennis, can I provide a background here for what you were just discussing
yeah.
before you
I want us to move forward to the
No,
simple
it's just a
business.
background of what you were just discussing. There's a background here that I want to give. The people that that picture, go back, go yeah, that one I won there. But go back to the other one that she was standing with the guys. Go back again, go back.
Just go ahead.
So we should understand here that Joel, this one, Joel received people who said they are come to invest. That's what the guys are talking about. That's what they're referring to here. They're saying these investors were the cartel. But the question I'm asking here is that will Joel willingly, with a conscious mind, want to cut a cartel deal and take the cartel business people to her office as president and to her home as vice president, to her office as vice president, to her home as vice president, and then go on an official visit outside in Dubai and sit in meet with them to agree to run drug? No. Like the what Roman keeps saying, I can understand this.
Dr. Pearson, that was let's move on. Because you can rationalize the people are not coming and say, hey, this is drug money. They are coming as investors. So
exactly. So what the evidence trying to prove? So so what the evidence trying to prove? That's what we're saying.
No. Let's wait for the evidence that there was something else besides the public showing.
We'll be here. We'll be here.
Let's be here.
We'll be here. The fanatical fact case when some other fake lawyer then can't lie to us.
I don't want you to, to break your vein just to defend or to defend Joel. You don't know. And you're not part of this.
I'm not defending Joel. I'm defending
but you are trying to justify, oh no, she can meet with anybody. These people were meeting drug people.
No, Dennis, that's not the fact. You have proof to that?
No, the people were not, nobody will come and say, hey, I got drug money here.
Exactly. So you don't have proof to that. No, it was alleged. It was alleged that the visitors that she received and came and registered the business. That's what you say.
But you never know who you're meeting, because in Liberia, we are always happy to say, how many MOUs are being signed? How many people? We are always happy to meet people calling themselves investors. If I go to Liberia, I want to meet anybody, they say, oh man, I'm man from Duduken, what you get? But soon somebody, especially though with some brown, light, or white skin, go there and they say, we want to invest. Why should somebody give you 5 million, 10 million? As long as people, India promised us this other country promised us, we are so much anxious to receive so-called investors. So I'm not surprised that anybody can come and say, hey, we want to invest in your water project. We have 350 million. And then we're ready to cut ribbon. So I'm
but that will make the government case dicey though, if they cannot prove that the people knowingly presented the proposal as drug transaction and she agreed.
But why? And you're not a lawyer, right? But what if it is established that these guys are on the drug list, that they are actually cartel members? Will it matter whether they discuss cartel stuff?
Circumstantial evidence there.
Yeah, will it matter? So
If I'm sitting here and somebody say this person come and meet me, and I'm not gonna go do background check before I meet with the person. I'm not
no,
gonna
you
do that,
should. You
right?
should. If somebody is coming to you with a business idea, and this
Mm-hmm,
person is on the U.S. most wanted list, for instance,
mm-hmm,
and the
mm-hmm.
person is coming to you and say, "Hey, I got a company. We can dig diamond in your Bapolo,
Yep,
and then give you 10 million every other week."
yep.
And you go post with them, we'll start from there.
Then
Yeah,
you should
but
start
it's
with the president. What?
circumstantial. It's circumstantial. It's not you.
Yeah,
You
no,
charging
that will
me.
start the investigation. That's not the hardcore evidence.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
but the
saying.
charge sheet that they present now, the charge sheet that they've presented, that charge sheet should have sufficient information pointing to all of the different areas that say, okay, she had a meeting in Dubai. She got this amount of money. This money was funds that came from a previous drug transaction from Colombia. These people have had, you have to show
That's
all that
what
evidence.
we're going to court. We want to see that, and we're all on the same page for that. We want to see
Okay.
that,
All right,
right?
Chief. Okay.
But you never once everything you hear from Dr. Pearson is how to prove Joao Taylor innocent and how to convict Buakai,
Oh no,
right?
no, no, no. Then be fair,
All right,
man.
okay. You
My concern
conclude
is
on
that
this topic so we can move on.
my concern is just the constitutional bureau. Anyone accused is innocent until proven guilty. If President Barack wants to fight crime, it's because we want to solve the problem of the drug. You have to do it equitably so that we solve this problem. If you don't want to solve it, then leave it, right? Because if we grab people because they sat with people or they took picture with them, then we grab the president. We'll grab the president. We'll grab the vice president. We'll grab Fonati Kofa. We'll grab everybody.
Mhm.
So what are we talking here? We got to be very serious here. You know that what we're saying. That's all I was saying. Government need to be serious.
All right.
Who's that? Who in that picture? Dennis, some people can see it on the radio. Who in that picture?
You see that? Oh yeah, Simon. His assignment is this, and this is.
There's
Anyway,
nothing more, man. We got to end this thing soon, so let's move.
yeah,
After
we,
that,
we end it for the next 10 minutes. Let's talk about Sekou. And I'm not. We discussed it at length.
Oh, the MPA guy.
The
Yeah,
NPA guy, right?
yeah.
What is the flaw in the system? Because all these people may be innocent, right? But what is the flaw in our system that everybody is exploited here? Because right now, even people commit crime, they can easily walk because we can prove it, right? When people are getting jobs, we don't vet them. When investors come, we don't vet them to see where they're coming from. As long as they say they're going to give us money. If you think I'm lying, just check some of our concession agreements. Right now there is even the port bill that the president finally signed. John Kerry said I was against it before being for it.
Yeah.
Right? There's no transparency for us to see these things. And so in your view, Maurice, let me start with you first. I want to get your view on the Dukley case. As long as anything that has to do with federal money, the people will look at it, a little more carefully.
Yeah, but there's no
So
crime, right? I mean, at least the one
no,
that I saw right now,
right
crime he
now.
committed, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think definitely the NPR report presents an opportunity for the US government to dig deeper because he's assuming a role in Minnesota while he's based in Liberia, which presents vulnerability to the people that he's serving in Minnesota. Certainly, the government can dig deeper into it. And if they establish that there is sufficient evidence for them to, bring him to justice, they probably will do that. But yeah, so the way that I see these things, Dennis, I think when we, as a government, Liberia, there will always be people from the diaspora that will go to Liberia to work. Whether, You take everybody from there right now, you bring a new group, there will always be people coming from the diaspora. 95% of the people that come from the diaspora has their foreign passport when they're coming to Liberia to work. How the government recruit those people into their respective positions is extremely critical, because these things that are happening with Sekou now can be seen in a way that is a bit negative towards the country, because it almost seems like you created an opportunity for someone who is exploiting the system in a foreign country. So it's extremely important to sort of vet the individuals that you recruit and the people that you put in positions. But like I said from the beginning, I don't think currently, right now as we speak, I don't think there's any crime whatsoever. It's just that the U.S. highlighted him, and the thing that he's doing in Minnesota, but then leave his position and go to Liberia to take on another role, while also claiming to be the executive, whatever the title is, I forgot the title, in Minnesota for two group homes, which is, yeah, it's a whole different thing. But yeah, that's my position on it.
Right. Like what else? The vetting, right? We also see that when every government these days, you have to really support, be in the trenches with them to get a job. And there are accusations that money changed hands in some of those instances, that people buy jobs. Even when they were recruiting for the University of Liberia,
Yeah.
it's all money, right? And nothing is we can't get oh, Dr. Pearson, let me get your take before because right now I want to be panelist.
Thank you, Dennis. Look, I told you, I said my sources are telling me that JNB are guiding to you to come after me, but no problem. We inside. My sources, I will not expose my sources, but we inside. Look, let's say this, right? I agree with what the both of you have already said. I think our country is vulnerable. Look, I'm all for Liberians given opportunity to serve, especially the young people. Look, if you have the requisite qualification, you're able to serve the country and make yourself available, by all means, serve, right? And I would even think that leaving the United States or leaving the diaspora, and not want to be narrow, but leaving the diaspora to go work in Liberia for, say, salary of $2,000, $3,000 a month, and so it's a sacrifice. In my view, it's a sacrifice. Liberia is very difficult to live in, Dennis. Every time I'm in Liberia, when LEC playing fun and I run my generator from evening to morning, that's a lot of money. If you did that for 5, 6, 7 days in a row, because LEC playing fun, that's serious money. That does not account for the feeding the whole year for, because you come from America, the whole year for family and friends. You got to feed everybody, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's expensive to live in Liberia. People think it's cheap. It's not cheap though. But when having said that, you see, our politics is designed in a way, Dennis, that when you really campaign for people and you, like you said, you go in the trenches for them, people feel like they have an obligation to be nice to you in return. So they feel that if you can do a piece of job, they give it to you. At the same time, too, when there's a second round, no party has ever won a straight first round elections in Liberia, unless for Charles Taylor NPP in 1997. Everybody has to rally around alliance. So when you have these alliances, yeah, people throw people names to you. You have to accommodate them. But
let's say what now election. Let's start making reference to it.
Yeah, but no, I'm just telling you. You're trying to say what? He's trying to say what's the why we there?
Dennis, what was it? I was in long grade. What are you talking about? What was it?
Yeah, we know why we're there. So that's the reason why we're in the kind of situation.
So people are at gunpoint. Nobody ran campaign in Nimba. In fact, in my town, the one guy there, he said, because it's heard that some of people from my hometown were for Ellen Johnson Salif. So he said, this bullet here for my brother when you can't run campaign here for Salif. And this other bullet for me. I will kill myself. That's the kind of situation we had that election.
You got evidence to that, Dennis? That person would take you to court.
This is my hometown. I talk to the people every day.
But let me
the guy
end my
himself.
thought. Let me just end my thought. So I think like with the Duke case, and I said the other day, I will repeat myself. I think the brother, in all fairness to him and for those that work for him and the business that they are partnering in, he should come home and settle that problem. That problem that we're hearing about is not the one that you can stay 3,000 miles away and solve. That problem requires you to be on the ground, to go through your documents, to go through your different sites, to have interviews with your people, to sit with them, to see what the issues are and how you can contribute towards remedying that issue. And I told us the first thing that came out, some people say, "Oh, the man had never been charged," and I said the people are not going to let that thing go away. Now some of the facilities are shut down. That tells you they're already going to start looking into it. You have to be here. Letting avoid our country getting a bad reputation, like Krumah say, where we paint a bad picture of our nation out there. Go home, come home, and deal with it. And I can say this to President Barker. If he waits until this guy is maybe indicted or they charge him to court, and I come on this platform, Dennis can cry blood. Dennis can cry blood. The blood can be all on the screen here. I will beat on President Barker and tell him that he is inept. He is incompetent to be president of the party. He doesn't have leadership, because leadership is the ability to have a foresight, to be able to see ahead and solve problems. You don't have to be reactionary to issues. You got to be proactive. You have to be able to foresee things coming to happen to hurt the country, and you prevent it from happening. You can be running behind the ball, trying to catch the opponent from scoring, when you can control the ball and maintain the ball. Those are two different things. And I think President Barker, from all indications, from the yellow machine, 60 million they almost stole from the country, to Dennis, the President Barker, long-time friend, sent one yellow machine, say at least, besides the one the vice president bought from China, President Barker, long-time friend from South Africa, brought one machine, said at least one. Zero. Look at the issue with the FOIA project. He didn't know anything about it. He put it in the national, in the Senate national address. The president has to be on top of the country. If he doesn't want to be there, he needs to step aside. It's as simple as that, Dennis. Akerabo?
No, that's not even my phone. But gentlemen, talking about the yellow machines, tomorrow will be the deadline for the distribution of the yellow machines across the country. So by tomorrow, each county should have 16 yellow machines. I don't know what happened next, but that's
when I hear you guys saying each county should have this number of yellow machine, what does that mean? Do we have 16 earth moving equipment are going to each county? 16 earth moving equipment?
So according to them, we have 285. We divide that by 15 is 16. I don't know why he formed that number. And what's going to happen after they are all distributed? But Brandon Samukai, is in charge.
Okay.
And my friend Roger Doma is also his deputy. So again, we come to vetting. I don't know what yellow machines are supposed to do and what the qualification people who made that criteria of. And I always like to use the word superintendent, because I'm vying for superintendent. Those who will be superintending these yellow machines, what they're supposed to have. So I don't know, after the distribution, they will start doing something. I don't know. But just people want to call, please, 605-313-6004. We'll close very soon because Maury just came from work. And Pearson too came from work. This is my second show, so we're tired. But so some people are okay. They drop off, so we'll see whether they're going to come back. But hey, if you want to be a part, Sam Wallow, I want you to call, man. People called me yesterday. They say Sam Wallow is not a real human being. They say it's not real. I keep telling them. I say I know the man's sister from Atlanta. They say that man is not real. So Sam, please put them to shame. Call the number on your screen and let's get your view.
Look, my man, Sam will not call. Sam does not have any MOU to support us back on the show. Let's just forget that. Sam is a government agent around to do cyber propaganda. But let's go to the issue. If the yellow machine costs $50 million to just have it distributed towards the 15 counties, 19 a piece. If you say
16.
express the 15 counties, 19 a piece. $50 million just to deliver, according to Brandon Samuka, just to get it to the counties. How much does it take to maintain the 19 machine per county?
So
maintain operating.
I mean, for me, I really want to be careful with characterizing all these into yellow machine, because from what I've seen and what they've shown online, it seems like there are more water trucks, some other smaller equipments that are not earth moving equipments. I'm really interested in knowing exactly how many earth moving equipment constitute that is inside that 285 things that came. It's not all yellow machine.
I like how you call it things.
Yeah,
because
there's
we
so
don't
many
know.
different things
Nobody's
that are in
telling
it.
us. By the time you raise the question, they say, hey, the Freedom of Information Act, or somebody like my friend Sam Waller will tell me, you are a journalist, you're supposed to know. Just like
Yeah.
journalism equals sign cutting. The government got to give us information. We can't sit down. Now, since, oh, okay, Sam say, I know, how do I know you're not going to
You're not
call
gonna call.
Sam? Sam, they say you're good, so that's why I told you I try to vouch for you. Because Sam Lidmore was my best friend in Atlanta, but they said no, it's not true. I said myself, I've not seen him. I've seen his mom and his sister, but I've not seen him. But Sam, you got to call, man. You got to put the people to shame. I
And then,
know.
do you want me to send Sam a picture to you?
Listening, Kamara, I'm not in Minnesota. I'm not in Philadelphia. Massachusetts, actually.
And Sam, you want me to send you? Danny, you want me to send you Sam
I
a
never
picture to
met
you?
family. I don't want,
I can put it up. I got controls here. I can put it up, but if you want me to put it, I can put it up.
No, the man doesn't. I don't want the man to sue us.
Oh, okay.
but gentlemen, for us to conclude, I know you are doing different things. I wouldn't mind you putting a plug for what you do, because sometimes I want people to know that besides coming here and helping us explain some of the issues going on in the country, there are other things you do. Like Dr. Pearson was showing his book the last time. Dr. Pearson, feel free for free, put in your plug for your books.
I don't trust you right now. I'm not sure whether you got information. My sources are telling me that you get information from Joseph Parker. So is it that you want to use it to incriminate me with Joel or something, or what? I don't know what your motives are.
No, my motives are clear. And Dr. Morris too are operating a business.
Yes. Early this year, we launched our nonprofit organization called Maya House Incorporated. We sort of provide transitional housing program for individuals that are experiencing homelessness in Massachusetts, Worcester County to be specific. But I mean, our work is intentionally focused on immigrants that are coming to the state. Massachusetts is another growing immigrants state, so we're supporting those individuals that are coming newly, that are struggling with housing. Massachusetts is one of the most expensive state in the country, and so people cannot afford housing. They can't afford just how to navigate the system is very difficult for them. So we launched in January of this year, and it seemed like we're getting a little overwhelmed now, but we're super excited about growing this thing, and we'll see what happens. And thank you, Dennis, for bringing this up. I wouldn't have talked about it, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah, no, feel free. We are not.
Maybe my house will start doing some sponsorship with focus on Liberia soon. Hopefully, we'll see.
Right, definitely, Dr. Pearson. Or you can talk about your church if you think that we can The book is, you don't want to talk
Let me
about the
say,
book?
trust you. You're still forcing the middle toilet.
Yeah.
You're muted, Doc. You're muted.
Yeah, Dennis, I can talk about my books. Yeah, I am a prolific writer. I got a couple of books on Amazon and other platforms or libraries across the internet. My books are available across the world wherever books can be printed. And yes, I wouldn't mind if someone would like to look them up. Just tap my first and last name in Amazon browser. You see all my books. If you took the same book, the same names of those books, and you look them up in the online on Google, you will come across those books as well. So yes, that's it. Then it's
Give
nothing.
us one, and what is it about?
Oh, okay. So the latest one that out there, I'm encouraging people to look up is the one that has to do with Prince Johnson. All right, and it has to do with Prince Johnson passing and the struggle for traditional and political power, or what we call as succession in Liberia right now. And what the book does, that the book delves substantively into issues relating to Kun and Koga how you call it, rivalry over that role to replace Prince Johnson. I think it's a very nice read. Anyone who is trying to understand Nima politics will find that book very interesting. Anybody running for office can also find that book very 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 interesting. Just you can look it up, and yeah, it's a very very beautiful read. And I got several books. Some of the books has to do with like Dennis said, I'm a reverend, I'm a pastor, so I got a lot of Christian books as well. I got some books on counseling, mental health, and stuff like that, because I did psychology for my PhD and psychology and counseling. So yeah, so I got that first. I even got novels, Dennis. It'll be interesting. I wrote some novels on AI Republic Code, and I mean, so yeah, I got a lot of books out there for
Thank
both
you.
pastors and laymen and politicians, everybody. You can go, you have a lot of fun there.
You're messing Wallow on you, Dr. Pearson.
Yeah. Same water. I would deal with same water on another occasion. I mean, some by the way. I mean, after MOU that have not been seen, like an ages, and Joseph Broker want to grab MOU not yielding any results.
Thank you. And if you're right, and this remind me that we can have a show all by itself, so that people as Liberians, we kind of talk about what else that we do, right? So that your first as a pastor, the pastors will say, you start in your Jerusalem before you go out. So if and not because we are Liberians, so we say Liberians should buy it, but if the services we offer, each of these people offer, if that's something that you're looking for, you can start from there. No preferential treatment, not only Joel can get that, but not us. That's a joke. So you can so you can patronize. I myself, I'm doing a lot of things. I've been writing novels since 2004 or so, like that. But right now, I've launched my technology platform because I'm a healthcare technology leader. So Care Central is an operations and care documentation platform for assisted living facility, group homes, residential care settings, and similar care organizations. Check it out, carecentral.com, and you'll love it. So when we are not on focus on Liberia, Morris is doing something, Pastor
We're
Percy is
hustling.
doing something, Mohammed is doing something, and something,
Yeah.
something. And our friend Sam Waddle even got his book. So Sam, feel free, you can put in a plug. But gentlemen, thank you for being here tonight. Let's wrap it up. You're closing.
What's Sam Water book about MOUs?
Oh.
I got a copy, so it's not about MOU. Let's conclude with solution. How do we solve? Because everything we talk about here got to do with the kind of system we have, the kind of Liberia we are operating. And we need to do. I saw one of the guys who he came in this country when he was 21 years old in 1969, and he has been in the trenches advocating and doing all that. When he was his birthday and I saw him, it's kind of, and all the things that he's been advocating for, it's like nothing really happened. And so I look at myself, I say, so that how my own case will be. You talk until you get tired, nothing changing, things continue to get worse. Regardless, let's keep pushing. So let's talk solutions. Sam Wallo love this segment. Morris, everything
Yeah,
we talk
Dennis, thank
about,
you for
man,
the
how
opportunity
do you
again,
think
man.
we can go about it? Because every time they arrest somebody, we have question. We have question about transparency, public trust. Okay, is it witch hunt? Every time somebody take a job, we think they're not qualified because some of the hostility or people are saying about state is that, oh, the man was not qualified, he bought a job, even though nobody saw him buying job. But but if things were transparent, we wouldn't really have some of these concerns and we have because sometimes these things feel hatred, they feel suspicion of others, they feel all kinds of things in our society. So let's discuss solution for the last 2 3 seconds or minutes.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in the show tonight. It's always really entertaining when I sit across from Dr. Pearson and you. It gets really interesting. I enjoy the conversation always. I think
Nobody does it like me.
I know. I always say that. I said Dennis is the best in the game. The man won't be superintendent. They don't want to get a man just superintendent. They won't get a man in position.
I
But
think I'm not trying enough. I'll keep trying.
yeah, keep trying,
Yeah.
Dennis, because I want to be, I want to be here and sort of support that initiative. So
And,
Dennis,
and, and Maurice, I'm willing to take the lower hanging fruit. If it were not for the road system, if Sino was around Banga, Nimba, I would be the Sino High School principal because I have a plan.
oh wow,
I have a plan, Our
okay,
construction department alone will build houses in Sino. The agriculture department alone will trade with Ivory Coast.
yeah,
So
it's always
I have a bloom wherever you are planted. So
it's
I want to
always a plan,
revolutionize
Dennis,
things,
when you're
no matter what
sitting.
corner you put me in.
It's always a plan, Dennis, when you're sitting in Atlanta. When you get on the ground, the reality can hit you
I
like a
know.
whirlwind.
I know.
Okay, great.
I survived Bosu, so and Jericho, so I think I can make it.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Good luck
I
with
can
it. But
pull out when we clear the camp and put our things on the floor. I mean, this bare ground is wet, so you just feel the warm under you going like this.
yeah,
And I was still able to move from there and become a teacher and became the best math teacher in West Africa
okay.
in Guinea, so I can do it.
Dennis, this is 2026, 1990. You're
And
talking
things
about
have
that. But
things are bit better, right? Things have gotten better.
it depends. It depends what you're evaluating. There are some things that are better, some things that are not better. I
I mean,
think,
I have
yeah,
cell phone now. I have computer. There is
okay.
AI.
Go to
There
someone
is
country with a cell phone
technology.
and see and see how well it works there.
People from my village, they were in the bush at night. They called me on video and it was as perfect as anything. The
Okay.
school in my hometown, when they are watching Chelsea games, it's like they're better than even in Morovia because they have the Wi-Fi, the school is equipped.
So then let's set up a Zoom that you can actually help them, do some teaching from where you sit.
You know,
Can I go?
it's, it's,
I enjoy Dennis. They should do that.
it's coming, it's coming. But I'm going to Morovia soon.
Very good. Very good.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's been an enlightening discussion tonight. I enjoyed every bit of it. I think part of the problem with Liberia, Dennis, from my ignorant position of being far away and just from my experience of working there, I think the state is extremely weak. I know when you're in government, people hate to hear when you say that to them. When you're outside the government, people tend to agree. The state is weak. So Sano County, for example, you just talked about. When you go to Sano, the state is not visible. You can see a courthouse easily. You can see a police station easily because the state is centralized in Monserrado County. 60 to 70% of the police officers are within that Monserrado, Magibi, belt. The further you go away from the capital city, the less presence of the government you see. Now, if the government, if we really want to see the country change, the basic minimum is to make sure that the government is present in the face of most Liberians. When something happens, I should be able to go to a police officer for help. If my neighbor did something to my child, I should be able to go to a courthouse and say, I want justice for my child. If those things are not available, the alternative dispute resolution sometimes can be biased, and we know that. But that's the only existing structure in parts of Liberia. That's part of the state weakness there. But the other part is that we do not have our best citizens at the forefront of leadership. We have some of the worst of our citizens. And because we have some of the worst people leading us, they have hung onto power such that they will never allow the best people to come around and help to move the country in the right direction. Because for them, that power is sweet. They enjoy it. If someone who was selling plank in red light become deputy speaker, they amass a significant amount of wealth now that make them believe that, this is where I belong. If someone who was, selling gas, I'm not trying to be disparage, the hustle mentality. But what I'm saying is
entrepreneurship. That's how it sounds.
It sounds like entrepreneurship, which we're supposed to promote. That person should be in that area, working hard. We protect them, expand their business while they're there. But they don't know anything about policy. They don't know anything about governance. But you bring them in this space of governance and policy, and they take that, manual entrepreneurial idea and say, okay, I'm just going to continue to make profit. That's all I have to do. Just make profit. And that's all they see. All they see is profit. Public policy is about helping the people. It's about actually impacting people's lives. So when a minister a director, a lawmaker, a senator, a vice president, when they go to bed at night, they should think, what can I do tomorrow morning to change somebody else's life because of the position that I'm in? And only the best of our best can be able to do some of that. We have to put our best foot forward, Dennis. You go to every single government ministry agency now, you see that the civil service is weak. Some of the appointment of people, the way that we measure qualification in Liberia is how many degrees does a person have. If you have, regardless of whether his master's degree is in theology or in agriculture, once he has a master's degree, put him in a position, let the man qualify. Those are the issues that we're having in Liberia. Then you have a whole division against people that live in the diaspora versus people that live on the ground. The people you won't see people come from the diaspora take jobs because today is a threat. Then you have people also divided on the ethnic lines. Position, you take it, you bring all the Madingo people and put in this stuff like that. So we have to change the way people think, the way people relate to the country. We have to change all of that. And to change that, it's going to take a whole generation, Dennis. I'm sorry, but it's going to take a generation. Thank you again for the opportunity, my man.
Thank you. Sam, it's not happening with you. Go ahead, Dr. Pearson.
Thank you for the show tonight, Dennis. Thanks to Mr. Kruman for joining us and our viewers and listeners out there. I think Liberia is at a critical juncture where we are in this fight against drug. And the thing about the fight against drug is that drug does not know opposition from imposition. It does not know borders. The impact of drug is very deadly. Whether it's domestic drug with the cooch and the marijuana that is devastating our young people, or it is the transnational drug cartel trafficking. Either way, it is bad for our country. And this is what I want to say to those who may be following our country, President Walker and others. The best way to deal with this drug issue is to confront it as a nation, void of political sides. Because the goal here is to defeat the cartel. It's not to make a show of opposition to get edge for 2029. if it is about making scoring political points for 2029 with selective justice, then don't do it at all. Because at the end of the day, it's only going to be harder for you to leave power. Because when you have done a lot of wrong already, and you find it hard to leave power because you know if you leave, people will persecute you. You will not want to leave power. We're going to find ourselves in a predicament that we don't want to go back to in our history. So look, let us be honest about this fight against drug. Let us fight as a nation, now with political science. With the issue of our brother Ducle, in all fairness, people are working for him in the US. He is a business partner to others. He may say, well, they can handle their own issue and then get away with it. You know, that's true. But if they are part of that group and there's a problem with the group, go home or come home, work with your team, solve the problem, and go back. You got time. You can come on leave and then you go back. Administrative leave, go back. President Buakai, if I were you, I will fire the man. I will fire him because the fact of the matter is that he did not disclose some very critical issues pertaining to his past with you that now may surface to be of an embarrassment to our country and to you who trying to rebuild the image of the country. You can't take that lightly. And then I will lastly say in closing, look, Dennis, my brother Kruman talked about people being positioned, not, maybe fit for the job. I will agree to an extent, but I think it boils down to leadership. And that's why I'm rooting for Mr. Alexander Cummings as the next president of Liberia, because we need a leadership that will provide correct guidance for the team. The country should be led as a team. If you have a far-sighted leader, a forward-thinking leader, a dynamic leader who knows exactly, critically, and technically knows what they want for the country, and not just knowing what they want for the country, but how to get it done, they will be able to rally a team around that technical aspect of getting it done and call people to check when there's a need for it. And I think Mr. Cummings is credible, and he should be trusted and given a chance to run Liberia for the next 6 years after President Walker has left office. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, gentlemen. I want to thank our viewers for watching. Always focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Until then, we close. Let me see. Let me see if there's a person who want to call.
Liberia is our home. Liberia people, Liberia.